buenas noches, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well, blessed, and enjoying family. As always, muchísimas gracias to everyone for everyone's words, wishes, prayers, and the love you guys extend and share my way. Desde el corazón, se los agradezco. Thank you. Also, do please like, share, and subscribe, and help the channel, the message get out there in the hopes it could reach more people to see if it may be some type of help in a positive way. Gracias. And well, everyone, first and foremost, I want to apologize to everyone, right? As you guys know, I was barely getting used to recording for you guys, so here I am trying this out. Let me know what you guys think. But if I'm not well at it, excuse me, right? But I wanted to keep my word with everybody and do the second part on the Torres family, or more so, on the Ondeado. I did a profile on Javier Torres, but you can't speak about one without speaking about the next one, right? And to me, like I stated before, the one I knew more about because he was closer to the family, and age-wise was M1, right? Manuel. And well, at one time he was a good friend of my dad's, right? Up until the point that my dad, well, he got gunned down in '93 with my cousin Nena, right? In the plaza. But nevertheless, again, the families were, you could say, from the same rancho, right? Or they're from the same rancho, excuse me. But anyways, when you talk about what started going downhill per se, no doubt, and you guys know, for me even speaking like this, but I will keep it a buck with everyone, right? Was the Zambadas. The Zambadas, they were known to turn in people, and I mean this, when my grandpa, dad got gone down, there was a time that they were doing it so much that it tried to be put on their back, but it wasn't. Everything came down with facts and everything, and it wasn't their doing. So again, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Nevertheless, let me start off with how you started hearing a lot. Well, besides many things, but this was the thing that really put El M1, Manuel Torres Felix, out there, right? Which was, you see, I don't know what that old man from Zambadas had Torica wise, right? Because, man, he was able to get into people's head, literally turn them in and still brainwash the families. I don't know if it was Feria, which these families, they're money makers, right? They're candy makers, so it's hard to believe that, right? So again, I assume it's just verbal, but again, I don't know what it was. But you have to start off with the Arajos, or Gonzalo, Chalo Arajo, right? He was, well, that family Arajo is big out here, literally big. The Arajos, the Limoncito, excuse me, El Llano, all them, they were all families that would trust it and would eventually join the Zambadas, right? But the Arajos, or El Chalo, he was the head at this time, and he had his crew, the Charros, and they were big, strong. But it was still a time of honor, per se, right? Palabra. And Chalo Arajo messed up in a few things that are well known out here, right? But the most well known one was bringing heat by taking out Salino Sanchez. He was the one responsible for all that. To what extent? Regardless, Chalo's gone, right? But basically, I lost some material right after. He was left with the options of allowing his family and his crews to keep working, but if he paid with his life or go to war. And again, there was a lot of family joining on Zambadas at this time, right? So he did what he thought was honorable, which was take his life with that agreement, right, with that old man from the Zambadas. And I think it was quicker taking his life than Mayo was quicker, excuse me, of betraying his that word that he promised him, right? Because right after he sent El Macho Prieto, Chino, and El M1 to go clean house on the Araujos to take him out, take the Charros out, completely off the map, right? He didn't want to hear about him no more. They tried to catch him by surprise, and there was just no way. That family till day is still strong, right? And they went up. They went up, and up until the point where other things distracted from that issue, because it was at the same time El Macho got pulled out for personal reasons with El Ondeado, Chino Anthrax for other personal reasons, and it was just, you know, El M1 El Ondeado that was still at war with the Charros, mainly with the son, right? The oldest son took over, El Chalito, and he got recalled, basically leave him alone, let him be, because the war started with Arturo Beltran, with the Beltran Leivas. They had separated from the betrayal, this time of El Chapo, and real clear, there is not one doubt that El Chapo turned El Mochomo in a plaque. Basically, he didn't tie him per se, but he set him up good. Good for those that know the ins and outs of that. And it was all due to his son, right? That you see right now going to war. The main one was racing, he crashed, and you guys know, he wanted him out of jail, so he turned in that financial the one that had all the finances for at least them and the family joining them, and he didn't care. You know, his fun, instead of paying for his son, it was easier to turn in someone that had the full trust in him, you know, because they were with him. The Beltran labels, they were with Chapo. Mayos, it was like, they're there, but you know, they were 100% with Chapos. That didn't have no value, right? And you know, on a personal tip, you know, me personally, as you guys know, within years, I went into clean house a lot against the Beltranes. I got, you could say, hurt real good. I received real good from the Beltranes, right? And they were known as kid killers, mata niños, woman abusers per se. But the one thing you gotta give them is they never snitched. They'd rather die on the line or get life in prison than to go out weaning. That's why you see nowadays, you see El Mochomo doing life in a federal prison real good when it comes to bilis and camaradas in that sense, right? Because there's no dirt on him like there is on other individuals. I'll just leave it at that. Anyways, the war started real tough, right? And one of the top generals of Zambadas and Chapos was El Ondeado. You know, he was with both of them, but more so with Zambadas. So they started clipping each other's people, right? When it came to Arturo and El Ondeado, you gotta remember, the Beltran labels, they were known as the ones that paid nomina to government. They were the ones that went and opened plazas for Sinaloa, for the whole Sinaloa. They basically went paid whatever needed to be paid. They were the ones that put their face and word on there. So they, by the time they split, they did have a lot of power. They weren't big in numbers, but they had a lot of power when it came to government, right? And So it was a back and forth. And of course, they couldn't measure because government, it's government. They flipped with Feria. So what they did, they made an alliance with the Zetas. Not only with the Zetas, with the Arajus. The Arajus, for being 100% Zambadas, to what ended up happening with them, basically get thrown under the bus and try to be taken out completely by them. They joined the Beltranes, and they were strong. So anyways, they went back and forth, right? Mainly with El Ondeado, more so in El Macho Prieto. But where it really kicked off and where an M1 got his name from is from where Chalito, on their orders to say he was just hurt from his dad, right? Went and gone down. Not only Javier's son, he survived, but shortly after he went and killed M1's Manuel Torres' son, and he tried to kill his 4-year-old daughter at the same time. That's where that famous name came, Mata Niños per se, because they literally go after families, kids, whatever. And in that incident, it's real famous out here, right? Because they left that note. That famous note is when everybody started noticing of the alliance that said, this is a gift from Arturo Beltran and his nephews, the Zetas. Is where the union came. And everybody knew it wasn't really Arturo per se, right? He had hate because they were at one point, right? El M1 and Arturo, they were tight, but lines were. And Arturo could not let go of that betrayal, right? It's understandable to some extent, right? Because, well, for those that know the history of when Chapo was busted, and the only reason he maintained was because of the Beltranes. They're the ones that kept him in power. They're the ones that did everything to be betrayed, so they had the right? Nevertheless, after they take El Ondeado's son out and tried his daughter, is when he went loony, Ondeado. And Arturo's the one that gave him that name, right? He started becoming famous. And in that spot, it became more famous because El Ondeado, he literally started going after families too. Things that should not have been allowed, right? That, for example, when it came, again, our families went back, I don't know how long, right? I'm a pup, but they started painting lines when it came to them because of it, right? But again, he was hurt, blind. He started, well, I'll put it to you like this. They started picking up people, teenagers, whatever it was. They would tie him to a chair, or however. And he was famous for a knife he had to do good work on them. And then, in the hundreds, where his son got killed, he would drop him off there with notes to Arturo and to El Chalito. And Chalito was hurt, but he got more butt hurt when El Ondeado took out his brother. Again, the Chalos family, till day they're no joke, right? Nevertheless, where the putazo, or excuse me, the hit came from, was where El Ondeado never thought it would come from. And it was for putting his guard down and forgetting that that old man turned his brother in. Just because of fear of power, greed, jealousy, right? So he took his focus because he was blinded for being hurt by his son, right? To the point that he went to war with the Macho Prieto, big time. It's when that old man's head started working. For those that know, not only El Ondeado, but El Macho Prieto was becoming a headache. So he got sent to Sonora, and at the same time, when El Ondeado started going to war with Chino Anthrax, it's I think when that old man made his mind up. And it's where me personally, I give respect to El Ondeado again. When I was a kid, I met him. I was literally a moco, right? But again, it was through my dad. And different man than what I came to hear with family throughout the years, right? He lost it because of his son. Torres were like. That's why I didn't understand why he forgave for the betrayal of his brother. Till day, they paid to keep him in there because, well, it's fear, right? It's fear. It's like, bro, you having skeletons in your closet. You try to keep them there at all times, right? Because they might come and bite you. You guys get it? But anyways, started becoming a headache, and basically government told El Mayo, we're gonna go after you and everything, because for those that don't understand, right, I'll probably, well, don't matter anymore, right? But the plazas in Mexico get set by the military and the marine, period. There's not one person that's where it's at on his own, cause of plomo y sangre, cause of lead and blood, like you do in the States, right? To earn a corner, you go and you boogie and you earn it. Out here, you work with government. Government dictates what you are out here, period. Unless you're in the shadow just making feria, right? But these individuals, as you guys know, they're not in the shadows. They like that, being in the spotlight, showing off their power. But anyways, government, they're the ones that radio in straight up. For those that know, I've heard it where they radio in and they go, hey, so and so's time is up in this rancho. We're going in after him and we're setting so and so. He's the one in charge there. It's how they set plazas. Again, the Beltranes used to be good players because they would literally be the ones that will pay to get in plazas, right? But that all changed. And it all happened due to a betrayal. Even though you've seen what they're doing to Sinaloa right now, because they feel offended because of betrayal. You guys gotta remember, when military and Marines got given the location of El Ondeado, El Mayo only thought about himself. Because more so El Ondeado was like family, right? Okay, let's put Javier, even though in the back burner. El Ondeado was El Gordo Zambada's father-in-law. And when it came to El Chapo, everything Ovidio learn, avenues, pipelines, wiggles up in the mountains. The one that took him under his wing was El Ondeado. He taught him everything. And he got repaid by, by getting turned in. He didn't get given the option as El Chalo. He himself is the one that told his crew, leave. I'll hold them here, they're coming after me. And that's why I'm going to tell everybody, or to make a little bit more sense, please go listen to that song. I don't know who sings it. Excuse me, I'm a truck when it comes to corridos. But there's a song that one of his workers put out that's called La Última Orden del M1 El Ondeado. Just put that, type it in, and it should come out, right? There's also another one that's just El M1, El Señor M1. Please hear him out. They speak louder than my dumb butt, right? You see, I'm trying to cut everything down to short. Again, it's a family that's close to our family, so I'm a nobody, right? But my family, they're always discussing these things, right? To some sense, I'm like a little fly, right? Always asking, and it's because I'm out here. But overall, it was just one of many betrayals. Remember, by this time, Vicente had already given everybody and anything up from Tijuana to El DF on the organization. Same with El Gordo. And under whose orders? For those that don't know, they contact their father. And what the father said, do it. Afterwards, you're able to come. Ain't nobody gonna tell you nothing here. Because I'm saying so to do it. Put them all in jail. Don't matter. You're the only one that matters. It's how he's worked over years. But again, I'll touch on El Macho Prieto to make a little bit more sense of this. I don't want to make this too long on you guys. I hope I made sense. Do please leave questions on the bottom. I'm more than glad to answer them. Hopefully, I'm able to get a phone tomorrow and I'll be able to be in touch with you guys again, answering, messages, you guys' comments, and be more in contact with you. I apologize for it. You guys know I lost it in Guanatos. But with this said, it's all lies and betrayal. I do understand out here, let's say it's Cali, the gang banging culture. Out here is the narco culture, right? They paint it bonito, but it's all the same. Lies and betrayals. Especially out here, I always say it, it's trash. If one thing, our top thing, our trash abuse of our raza over here is like kick you to the side and say I the boy, right? But again, this is just a personal insight, and I know everyone's gonna be like, oh, but you're Chicano, yeah. But you gotta understand, my dad always covered us from being out here in the rancho. We went and came, always kept my mother in the States. So, man, I'll just leave it at that. With that said, just always stay smart. What don't make sense, don't make sense. Stay true to yourself, loyal to your loved ones. Muy buenas noches. Please let me know what you think about this. Again, I'm trying out. I'm trying to get used to it, right? My love, everyone. Blessings.